Okay, so hope I'm not echoing. Can we hear me clearly? Can
Yes,
we hear me
please.
clearly? Okay then, so
Yes, Inka, we can hear you.
we'll go straight to the business of the day. Like I said before, today we'll be talking about data visualization. So far we've learned how to import data and how to model it, managing relationships, creating measures, and all of that. So now that we have finished preparing our data, it's time to build visuals with it. So all the while we've been seeing this place blank, we've not really done anything here except creating measures. So today we'll be creating visuals out of our data. I had wanted to use the file that Choma used last week, but so that we'll just continue. But I was having some issues opening the file on my system. I think because I have an older version of Power BI. So I've had to use I have to use another file. But I would just like help us to look through the data so that we can see what the data looks like. So from the schematic, it's just one table. So there are really no relationships or anything. Just one table about sales and what the shop has in stock, lot of inventory and stuff like that. Then this is the table here. These are the columns that we have: product name, week number, average inventory, and all of that. Then also we have some measures that we have created. Okay, one measure, average in stock percentage. So basically we're just going to be visualizing this data. So depending on what is available in your data or what you're trying to achieve with your report, so that's what determines what kind of data that you're going to, what kind of visuals, sorry, that you're going to use. Can we see my screen too?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, like I said, the business case you're trying to solve or the purpose of your report is what determines the kind of visuals that you're going to build. But worthy of note is that the main purpose of visualization at every point in time is that, because so we know that you already have these you know that it's the same data that you already have in this table. So why make it into a visual? Why can't anybody that wants to see the data come here and see it? The purpose of putting data in visuals is so that people can at a glance see relevant information. For example, in many places, the executives and the decision makers are very busy people. They don't really have time to go and be looking through your Excel tables. So when as a data analyst you are expected to prepare a visual, is so that they don't spend much time, that at a glance they can see, they can draw insights from that data. And that's why using the right visual for different kind of presentation is important. Now on this pane, the fields pane here shows us all the data that you have imported. Then the visualizations pane shows us the kind of visuals that are available that you can use, and it's a whole lot. These are stacked bar charts, stacked column charts, line charts, area charts, line and stack column, that's the combination charts. Then the GIS, that's the map. Then field maps, cape gauge, different kinds really. Then apart from all of these visualizations, if it happens that all of this is still not enough for you, you still want more, then you can even come here to get more visuals. And then you can go to the web and get even more visuals that are available. So basically today I will just try to build or um build a few visuals. And how do we go about that? So like I said, this visualizations pane, the top part shows you the available visuals. Then the second part down here is the place that gives you information about the visuals that you have already built. and where you can also make modifications to visuals that you have already built. And then this filters pane shows any filters that you might have added to your visuals. So the first thing I'll do is to build a visual. So how do you build a visual? There are different ways. You can start by clicking the kind of visual that you want to use. So let's say I want to build a line chart. So immediately you click on the line chart, you will see all the things that you can add, like the axis, the legend, the values, secondary values, and all of that. So that's one way to build a visual. Another way to build a visual, I'll remove this. Let's say you don't even know what kind of charts you want to use, but you want to see the sales you made, maybe through the week or through the year. You can just come to your fields pane and then click sales. You can either click it or drag it from here into the values field. So once you click that, Power BI just sort of suggests whatever visual things fit into the information you want. But now you just don't want to see sales. You want to see sales maybe through the different weeks or the different years. So I'll expand this week ID. We have a data hierarchy that has day, quarter. So I'll just choose month. So I want to see how much sales we made in each of the months. So if I click month here, Power BI just gives me a table that shows. So it doesn't know how I want it, but it just uses its own intelligence to say, oh, okay, you want sales by month, and sales by month you will have. But so now what we have is literally just a table. So now you don't like this table, you want it some other way. Maybe you want a column chart or a bar chart. So you just, while you're on this visual, you just go here and click on a bar chart and it automatically changes to a bar chart. So now this shows us the amount of sales we made in each month, January, February, March up to December. And the topic and the title, it gives you a title automatically, so based on the things that you picked. So you can see here it says sales by month. And let's say you don't like the bar chart, you want something else, say a pie chart. Once you click the pie chart, changes it to a pie chart. Then you don't want a pie chart, you want a line chart. And there you have a line chart, sales by month. Or you want an area chart. So basically, that is the way to build your first, or to build a simple way to build your visual. Now, when you have built your visual, let's assume that you want to now modify it, you want it to be fine, you want it to be a certain way. Here, I already said, so it shows you all the axis. It shows you everything about this chart. So this is the axis. There's no legend here because we didn't add anything in the legend. So for example, we can add category to the legend so that you understand how the legend works. So now that we have added category to the legend, you can see that there are now lots of line charts, and each of these line charts represent different categories. So you have the category key here, computer monitors, low cost monitors, and all of that, premium computers. So each of these line represents, like, so you use the color, so you know that the blue line represents computer monitors, the purple line represents low cost, and all of that. So that's how the legend works. But to make this more straightforward, I'll just remove the legend. So like I already said, depending on what you're trying to achieve with your report, that's what will determine whether you don't like what you use or not. You don't necessarily have to use the legend if your report doesn't require it, but if your report requires it, then you can use it. Also, you can have secondary values. For example, you want to show two things at the same time and not like in form of a legend. For example, we have sales here and let's say you also want to show another thing entirely also per month, let's say in stock percentage, or yeah, let me use average inventory. You want to also show average inventory, so you put that in secondary values. So you see that you now have two axes: sales on one side, average inventory on the other side. So each of this line represents the blue line. As you can see, we now have a legend again. The difference between when you have secondary values and when you have legend: when you have legend, it uses the same axis and just has plenty lines. But when you want to compare two values with each other, you use the secondary value. So that way you have one axis on the left and another axis on the right. So each of the y-axis now will represent each of the values, the primary and the secondary value. So now when you want to look at sales, you'll be looking at this left hand side, and when you want to look at average inventory, you look at the right hand side because that's the secondary value. So that's all of it. So this page just shows you everything about your chart. Then when you now want to edit your chart, you want to add paparazzi, you want to do a lot of stuff, you come to this paintbrush here. It's actually a picture of a paintbrush. That's your format tab. So you come to your format tab. That's where you can do a lot of changes. For example, you want to increase the size of your chart. You can use any of this size with X position, Y position. This X position and Y position, you don't want to start from 0. You want it to have negative and all of that. But since you don't have any negative in this data, just leave it as 0. So that's general. Then for legend, you want the position of the legend, top, bottom, left, anywhere you want it to be, or you want to even totally put it off, but we need it to be on here. Then your x-axis, you want to edit it, you want to change the color, the size, the font size, and all of that. Show title, color, just in short adding this thing to your, making your chart fine or more legible or all of that. So all of that is here. Here is data colors. We already have the two colors for the data, but if you want to change it, maybe you think that the colors look alike too much, you can change this to say something like red so that it can be obvious. Then here, data labels. So if you wanted to call out what this point is so that you don't have to look at the axis, so you can just put on the data labels. Once switch it on, it shows the number. Best practice is that in data visualization, you don't need to have both axes and labels because they technically fulfill the same purpose. So if you're putting on your data labels, then maybe you should just put off the axis because the number you're trying to show us on the axis is already showing in the data labels. So if your report allows you to use data labels, then you might just want to put off the axis because rule of thumb in visualization is to put only what is necessary on your dashboard. You don't want to overcrowd it with too much information. So whatever information is not necessary, then you might as well just remove it. So now if we take out the, okay, sorry, it's the y-axis I want to take out. Take out the y-axis and the secondary axis since we already have the numbers here. But really, it's a rule of thumb, but then if you want, if it makes you feel better, might as well just still leave it. So yes, that is where you do all of the edits that you need to do on your visual. You want it to have a border, give it a border, maybe give the border a color, say blue. And all of that. So now quickly I want to talk about Okay, there's something I wanted to talk about. Tooltip. So what tooltip generally means is that when you hover over this line, what do you see? That's what tooltip means. So for example, if you want so it's showing sales and average inventory on hand now because that is what we have, that is what we have selected on the data. But you can actually decide that you want, maybe you want to show an additional information on your tooltip instead of just showing only what you already have. It's just a way of maximizing the use of your visual. So I'm coming, sorry. So the way to add something to your tooltip when you wanted to show something else is to come here and then, so for example, these tooltips add data fields here. So you can add another data field entirely to this place. And I want to add, this data doesn't have plenty fields. So let me add, so okay, we've used, what do we have here? Average inventory on hand. Okay, so let me put average in stock percentage on the tooltip. So now when you hover over this point, can you see that we now have average in stock percentage? So this is just like you're trying to maximize your chart. You don't really have space to put this other information, but you still want them to see it on this chart. So you just add it to your tooltip. So every time someone hovers over any point on your charts, then they see that information too. So it's not necessarily part of the chart, but that information is still available just by hovering over the chart. So that's what um, two tips are for. So this other tooltip here, there's another way to use it that you can, I will talk about it later. There's another way to use it that you can, like, you can do more with it, Sha. I'm looking for the right word to explain it, but I'll just talk about it later. So basically, this is where you give effect to your data. So let me come to plot area, for example. The font color, there are two, the font colors are too dull, so I want to just change the colors so that they are more obvious, because the whole purpose of visualization is just that when people see your data, they can easily see the information that you are trying to pass across. So for example, let me come here and increase the size of this. Take this to black, increase the size to 12. Not 12. 12 is fine. So that's for y-axis. Then the x-axis, take this to black and increase the size to 12. Now I can also do the same for the secondary axis. Take this to black and increase the size to 12. Then here you have your title. Yeah, if you're not pleased with the title that Power BI has given you, you can also just change the title here. And then I want to also increase the size, centralize it, and then increase the size. So this basically just works like any other Microsoft Word or anything. You can change the fonts and change the size, or make it look however you want it to look. So I'll just so like I have said before, we can go on building more charts and charts. Let me increase the size of the data label too. Set this to black. I usually like to be consistent in my visuals. So if I'm using black and 12 for all of them, let it be that. As I was saying, we can go on building as many charts as we want, but really the process is the same. Just select the chart you want, put the values, and format it the way you want, however you want it to look like. But a few other rules of thumb that I would just like to talk about is selecting the right kind of charts for different kind of visualization. So for example, like I said, different charts are better adapted for different purposes. For example, you want to show something that has happened over a period, say from January to December or from 2012 to 2013. It is usually advisable to use a line chart or an area chart like this. So that's because it shows you a trend. Like you can see how the thing is moving from here, January to February to March to April to, as opposed, for example, you put it in a pie chart. I mean, this is all over the place. You can't tell if it has increased from January to February to March to, even though you know that this color is February, you can't easily tell at a glance how it has grown. But by the time you have it, say in a line chart, you can at a glance see that the months that had the highest were January and say November, and the months that had the lowest, February, the lowest was in February, the second lowest was in April. So because the purpose of using visuals is that you want people to draw quick insights without wasting time, it's usually important that you select the right kind of chart. Any chart can show anything, but some charts show some insights better than others. So for example, let's say you want to show sales. So we have in this company, for example, they have different categories of product that they sell. So let's say you want to show how we have sold different categories. And for example, so when you want to create a new visual, you just click anywhere outside your old visual and you come back here as usual, select your sales. So now I want to show sales by category. Select your sales and then you select category. In a situation like this, Power BI has automatically selected a bar chart for us, a column chart, sorry. But I would like to change it to a bar chart. And why do I want a bar chart? A bar chart also shows you very easily, because people a normal reading rule is that people read from left to right. So when you read this from left to right, you can immediately see that premium computers have the highest. Now you can imagine if I put this in an area chart, a line chart, is all over the place. Like I can't really tell, and it's even just somehow. Like yes, I can see that premium computers sold higher than low cost, but I can't clearly see the difference. But when I put it in this bar chart, I can really see that, oh, this is really small compared to the others. Like I can see clearly how much more premium computers sold, and I can see that computer monitors we sold so much less. So there are just rules of thumb like that tell you what kind of chart does better for different kind of information. Now this can also actually be in, if what is important to me is that I want to know what what percentage of our sales is each of the categories contributing. Now, I'm not just concerned about how much, I want to know the percentage. Then in this case, it will be better for me to use, say, let me create a new chart. Better for me to use, say, a donut chart. So I'll say sales by categories. Give me bar chart again, but then I'll change it to a donut chart. With a donut chart, I can now see. So the purpose of or the times when it's better to use a donut chart is when you have a lot of data points that contribute to a total, and you want to see which one is contributing the highest. You want to see which one has just a percentage of a whole. You want to know which one has a higher percentage. Now, a pie chart may also be used in that situation, but pie charts have look at, for example, now where you have these 3 points that are very close to each other, is quite difficult to tell the difference. But because a donut chart has a kind of 2D presentation, it makes it easier for you to see which is bigger than which and which contributes. So you can easily tell now that this is like more than this is about 60% or 65%. You can see the difference between, for example, the bar chart that we had used before and this pie charts is that you can see here, yes, that premium computers have a high number, but you can't compare it to the total the way you can compare it to the total in a donut chart. So from here now, you can see that, oh, it's a certain percentage of the total. So maybe we should put a certain percentage of our inventory or a certain percentage of our staff in that department and stuff like that. So the what guides the kind of visual you select is just the information you're trying to pass across. Do you want people to see how you have done? Do you want people to see a percentage of the total? Do you want them to see a trend? And all of that. So for example, I have I want to show, let me look for another data that has something that we can use a map for, because the map is another interesting visual. And also I would like us to use a scatter chart. So let me see if I'll find another file that has. I'm coming, please. Let me just find another one. Okay, so we're here. So basically that's it. So for example, if you need to like edit this chart too, you will just come here to the, and as usual, you can still add something to your, can still add something else to your tooltips here. For example, if you add let me see. Oh, average inventory. So the tooltips here. So it just means that every time you, it's not responding. Just means that every time, like I said before, every time you hover over this, you would also see average inventory in addition to sales by category that we already had. So this is showing you average inventory on monitors. Then when you come here, you see average inventory on premium computers. Come here, you see average inventory on low cost computers, like that. So like I said, every other thing is basically the same. Yes, the number of the details you can have on different kind of visuals are different, but the principle is basically the same. Here, for example, you can still add another field in details. So let's assume we move this. Trying to open another file. That's why all this is happening. Okay. So I moved the average inventory on hand from tooltips to details. And what that does is, okay, let's finish loading so that will show us. What that does is it further breaks it down from this thing to all of it. It's not really what we want, so we'll just take it back to tooltips. So another chart we can use, or another visual we can use, is a matrix. A matrix is kind of like, oh, I didn't mean to change that. So click out here before clicking the matrix. The matrix works quite like pivot table in like the pivot table in Excel. So for example, because we have, okay, I'll use this category since we have a category hierarchy. So you can pull the category here and then put item number. So we have different item numbers under different categories. If we remember, um, what we learned in hierarchy last week, then I will move sales to columns. Okay, no, sales will be in values. Then for columns, let's have month. So this is going to show us in a table how much we sold in each month by different item number, then adding up to different categories. So let me just try to increase the grid a little so that we can see. Hopefully we'll have enough space for it. Okay, at least we can see it's January, February, March. So you have, so because like I said, we have item numbers then adding up to categories. So here now you can click this plus sign here if you want to see all the item numbers under low cost computer and how much we sold for each of them. I don't know why this is ready. So these are the item numbers under low cost computers. Then under monitors, we have all of these item numbers, and this is how much we sold for them. Now we'll just use this. So since we have hierarchy here, I'll use this to explain the drill down function. So what drill down simply means is that you're going from a higher hierarchy to a lower hierarchy, and then coming back, go to the next level in the hierarchy and all of that. Expand all down one level in the hierarchy. So already we have only one level anyway. So if we click this drill down, it activates the drill down and you are able to come here and click drill down But if you click here, it automatically actually does the drill down for you. So now you have drilled down one level, but if you want to go back up, then you click this, then it drills it back up. So that's just how the drill down and drill up work. So like assuming you had more than 2 levels now in the hierarchy. Maybe for example we have category, then we have groups, then before we now have item number. So the difference between this and this would be that this will go down one level in the hierarchy, but then this for example you're already on the lower level. Okay, so this totally takes out the first level and just takes you to the next level. But when you go back up, it takes you back to the first level. But this expands. It doesn't totally take out the first level. Now it shows you both the first and the second level. And then this can take you back up. But when you use this, it totally takes out the first level. And then this can take you back up as usual. So this goes totally to the next level. It doesn't expand. It just takes out the first level and goes to the second level. So that's the purpose of the drill down and the drill up. But this is usually a better view since this can show you. This can actually help you to expand so you can see all the levels in your hierarchy. So that's how drill up and drill down works. Now there are a few other things, and yes, I've been doing a lot of jargons work. Best practice when you're building visuals is that you need some design sense. So the way my visuals are just scattered all over the place is not nice. It's usually good to have your visuals, like all of them should be properly aligned and all of that. Not this thing I've been doing, just putting the visuals all over the place. So let me just try to do that now. Okay, this is a bit better to look at. So the next thing I want to explain is okay, two things I would explain before we go, because I need to close at 7 on the dot today because I have another class. I have another meeting by 7. The last thing I want to explain is interactions. So now all of these charts by default interact with each other. For example, if I come here and click on premium computers, all of the other visuals will change and show me only premium computers, because what I've inadvertently said is I just want to see information about premium computers. And the same thing happens if I come out of there and let's say I come here and I click tablets. Every other information around there changes and everybody just shows me what has happened with tablets. And if I also come here and click, I don't know whether I can click dates here. Let's say I click April. You see, I click April. Everything here is telling me what happened in April and nothing else. So if I don't want that to be the case, if I want, for example, maybe I don't want this filter I don't want this chart to interact with this other one, or I just want it to interact with only this one. Maybe for whatever reasons, I don't want them to tamper with each other. You come to view. Where is I edit interactions? There used to be this thing around here. Okay. So you come to format and then go to edit interactions. So immediately you click that. Okay, there's no space. There's no space, so we can't see. Okay. Immediately you click on the edit interactions, you see this thing that pops up by the side of your visuals. So for example, you can see this here, you can see this here too. What this one was here just now. So what this means is, so that there are three options. The first option is none. What none means is I don't want this visual to interact with any of the other visuals on the page. So if I check this none, you'll see that if I click this, it's not supposed to change. Let me do that again. Sorry. So literally, what it means that there are three interaction levels. This none says that it should not interact. This highlight says that whenever I click on something here, highlights those same things in the other charts. Then this last one is filter. Filter means that whenever I click on, say, premium computers here, filter all the other charts to show premium computers. So the difference between highlight and filter is that when you use highlight, by the time you click it on the other visual, it just focuses on, it just puts like a flashlight, just like you see, it just highlights the data in the other filters. It doesn't like filter out all other things. You can still see the other things, but there's a focus on the one that is highlighted. But the filter, when you click on filter, the moment you click something, it filters all the other fields, as you can see here. If I change it now, if I change it to highlight, I don't know why the thing keeps going out. So now we're back to everything. So because this on the donut chart, I've already clicked none. So which means it's not interacting with any of the charts. So whatever I do in this chart, like for example here now, when I click this premium, it filtered all the others to premium, but it didn't filter the donut chart. That's because the donut chart has been set not to interact with any of the charts. So whatever is happening, whatever you're doing in any of the charts doesn't affect it, because it's been set to no interaction. Now if I remove this no interaction and I change to highlight, by the time I come here and I click premium computers, you see that it highlights the premium computers here, but it doesn't totally take out the others. You can still see the others, but they are not highlighted. Now if I change it to filter, can you see what happened? Because I still have this premium selected here and I said filter, it takes out anything that is not premium computers. So can you see the difference between the highlights and the filter now? If I say highlights, it highlights whatever I did here by selecting premium computers here, highlight premium computers on my donut chart. It shows me the rest. I can see it, but it's not highlighted. But by the time I change it to filter, it totally filters out anything that is not premium computers. But if I change it to none, whatever thing that I'm doing in this place is not the guy's business. The guy just remains what he is. Because I have said, hey, don't interact with them. Don't think about whatever they are doing. And the same way, if I come here and change this to none, whatever I do anywhere here doesn't affect him. It's affecting this guy because this guy is on filter and is filtering it. The only option available here is filter and none. If I come and still change this to none too, whatever I do here doesn't affect it. Still shows tablet. So that's how interactions work. So whichever of your charts, so where you do the work is on the charts that you don't want to be changed. If I don't want anything to change on this chart, I want it to just remain like this, I will just always click this none. If I want it to always be filtered by whatever is filtering in the other places, I will change it to highlights. And please understand that the interaction can be from anywhere. So if I change this to highlights now, and I come here, and remove, sorry, and I come here, if I change this to highlights, and I come here and click June, if I change this to say filter, I don't think highlights will work with that. If I change this to say filter, and I come here and click on say November, okay, this is quite tricky. Okay, the figures are changing. I'm the one that is not seeing it. The figures are changing to reflect the sales in each of those months, both in the pie chart and in the table. Let me remove this inventory average stock here. It's affecting the distance. So I come and change this to August. So you see that because I've changed this to filter, so this is filter and this is also filter. If I come to this line chart and select September, all of them change and they just show me the sales that happened in September. If I click December, it shows me the sale in December. If I click May, it shows me the sales in May. If I click January, it shows me the sales in January. So that's how interactions work. There are a few other more complex visuals that I will show us in the next class. Maybe GIS maps, composition trees, and then we'll also learn about filters and slicers. So already we have filters here. So filter, like the name implies, like again, I can still add the difference between filters on a visual and filters on a page. So filters can work in three ways in Power BI. Can have a filter on a visual, filter on a page, or filter on all pages. And difference is just that if I have a filter on a visual, so I have this visual selected, please show me all the filters on that visual. But for example, if I have something as a filter on a page, for example, I can add product name as a filter on this page. What that means is that anything I change on this filter is going to affect all the visuals on the page. So for example, these are all the products. If I just tick, I just want to see information about Lenovo ThinkPad, you see that everything changes. That's because it's now showing me information only about Lenovo ThinkPad. And the other kind of filter that you can have is filter on all pages. Now the implication of that is that, as you can see, we've been working on only one page. Now we could have an additional page, like in your Excel. You can just come here and click new page, and you still use the same data and build more visuals. But if you have a filter here as a filter on all pages, whatever you click on that filter is going to affect all your visuals on all of the pages. That's what all those kind of filters mean. So we'll look at that more in our next class. We'll look at filters, we'll look at drill through, and then we'll look at maps and maybe the composition tree, some other advanced charts. So these ones are really the basic charts that we can easily play around with. But would look at some other advanced charts in our next class. And as for assignments, you know me, I always give assignments. As for assignment, I would like anybody to tell us when we come next week the similarities and differences between slicers and filters. So I will type it in the chat box so that we will not say we didn't hear me. I'm trying to open the chat box. But in the meantime, if anybody has any question, so I'm about to leave. If anybody has any questions, please you can unmute your mic and ask, or type it in the chat box. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, Inka, we can hear you.
Okay. Do we have any questions? Apologies for the once in a while background noise.
Can you hear me?
Can you be louder? Can hear you, but it's faint.
And now? Hello, can you hear me?
Lavender, can you be a bit louder?
I'm shouting. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Is it better?
I can manage. Just go ahead.
So I wanted to ask if you're looking for a rating. This is with regards to last week's class. If you're looking for a rating for something, maybe you're looking at different people who have been rated and you want to find the average rating for those people. Do you what do you call it? Do you create different measures for each rating, each person?
So you have a list that has a rating for different people and you want to find the average.
Let's say, okay, let's use products. You have a list that has maybe mobile phones, computers, and TVs. These three have different, they are rated differently. I can rate for TV, you can rate for like that. So but I want to look for the average of TVs, people who rated for TVs, and I want to look for the average of people who rated for computers.
Okay.
Like that.
So once you create a measure and call it average rating, and you tell that measure to, of course, pick the average of ratings. The only thing you have to do when you come here, you select, once you select that measure, average rating, and then you say by product. So for example, this average in stock percentage is a different percentage for different products. Like, let me come here. For example, this average in stock percentage for different product categories. So what this is showing you in essence is that for premium computers, the average in stock percentage is 98%. For low-cost computers, the average in stock percentage is 98.06. For monitors is 97. So if you have all of those ratings too for different products and you need the average of it, you just create one measure that says average of ratings. But by the time you filter that measure, or by the time you create a visual that says average rating by product, do you get?
Yes.
So it gives you so you don't have to create a different measure for each product. That same measure, you can use it once you just filter it by product.
Okay, and the last question, what if there are about 100 products, but you only want to see the top 10, the ones with the highest, but 10 of them?
Okay, yeah, running ahead of the class.
Oh, okay,
But
sorry.
so that's, again, I remember to upload our curriculum on this thing today. That's so after we are done with visualization, the next module is analysis, actual analysis, because anybody can create visuals. What matters is, can you make the insights you want people to see obvious from your visuals? And that is actually the work of analysis. And we're going to, it's actually quite straightforward. I can answer it now, but I don't want to answer it because that's the work in that module. So when we get to that module, we'll look at how you can show top 10, top 100, or even use conditional formatting to show the ones that are, maybe you have a certain cutoff mark 80. You can use conditional formatting to show which ones are above the cutoff mark, which ones are very close to the cutoff mark, and which ones are way below the cutoff mark. So all those possibilities are what we are going to explore when we look at analyzing data, when we're done with visualizing. So that's our assignment. I posted it on the chat. Difference between slicers and filters. I'll have someone explain that in the next class before we start that class. So that's about. Does any other person have a question? And if you're feeling very good, you can also build a visual to show us the difference between slicers and filters, and then demo it in the next class. If there are no other questions, I would try to update my app before next class so that I can use. I really like that Choma's data set. It was quite rich, and it would be better for us to do the more complex visuals. So yeah, that's about it really. If we have no further questions, then I would say good night, yeah? And enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, Yinka.
Thank you.